Grundon's. Okay, Trustee Grundon's here, McGregor's here, village president is here, and Diane is here as our treasurer. Approve the agenda and approve the previous committee meetings from May 4th, 2023.
I so move.
Second.
Move and second. Any questions or concerns?
We're looking at you.
Hearing none.
Why is everybody looking?
Well, you were kind of paging through, so
Oh, sorry.
with hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Anybody opposed, nay? All ayes have it. Public comments? Anybody online? Nope. Nobody here? No comments. Chairman comments? I have no comments at this time. Discuss the motion to approve the monthly bills, journal entries, and previous monthly financial report.
I would make motion.
And I will second that.
Motion by Grundon, second by McGregor. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, vote all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. No opposed, that motion carries. Discuss the village employee handbook and recommend updates. We just were handed this here by Chief Drew. And I know that there was concerns by Trustee Grundon about, I read your email. I think your points are valid. I don't know, just getting this right now because of the circumstance we're in with our administrator on vacation. I don't know all the changes. I know that I also read an email by our secretary, Kim Holcomb, and I agree with her changes there. Actually, Boz put down good catch. They need to be changed and it's gonna be brought up here at the finance committee. I don't think these changes are
Well, those are
here.
the same changes I pointed out to him twice.
Right.
In the last couple months, and they're not changed, so then she sent him an email, because she saw this when he sent it. I don't know, I didn't see it again. But, yeah, the funeral leave for 1 day is left out, which is in the current labor policy. And then I also thought he was gonna leave the numbers out, so this one have to be redone every year, because it's such a big document. I think we talked about that at one of the meetings. And then as far as the unused sick leave for retirement, he stopped at age 62. The current policy goes to age 65 plus. So that wasn't changed either.
Should we try to go chronological?
Well, I think that this is not even page by page. What I'm gonna recommend is, and I guess it'd be up to Diane, if you can make these changes and bring them back to our next committee meeting and so we can approve them. And,
Well, Ray will have to.
or Ray will have to, these changes need to be put in there, and I don't think we can approve the employee handbook until these changes are done. I mean.
Should we talk about each of them as we walk through to see if we have a consensus that we're gonna have him change?
Well, I'm totally on the consensus. The funeral leave was actually in the last policy, the updated policy. Cause I read that and I know that that's a part of it. The numbers we did talk about leaving out because health insurance and that changes from year to year.
I
And
agree with you.
retirement.
Those that you're talking about, Diane, I think we already concluded, but the ones that I brought up, I don't know if,
And the sick leave,
There's
so
a
we need
consensus.
them three for sure. Okay, sure, and let's bring up,
okay.
you
so-
do have them in front of you,
Yeah,
cause I don't have my.
Yeah.
Now,
Okay.
you're gonna have to help us because we don't have page numbers or. they're all
Okay,
got
so
cut off.
page 9 is going to be the protect village assets and reputation. It is,
Okay, yeah,
you found that?
Yep.
All right, so on page 9, the harassment policy to me seems narrow. If I'm reading it right, the harassment policy seems limited to protecting those of a quote protected class or harassment that comes in the form of sexual harassment. It seems there's a broader area of circumstances that maybe we need to consider.
Would you wanna change that to any type of harassment in the workplace? I mean, it doesn't have to be sexual harassment, it could be
right.
verbal harassment, how would you wanna word that?
I don't know how it wants this, but this one has all of Bob's notes that he's gone through,
Oh, that,
Oh, so maybe he has those changes
Oh.
in there
so.
This is way thicker than ours.
Notes he has.
What?
Why is his way thicker than ours?
Page 9, you're saying?
yeah. Strictly prohibit and will not tolerate discriminatory practices or harassment against our employees, maybe just period. Rather than going on based on their protected class status by anyone, including a.
Again, here he has highlighted on their, protected class status, any protected class of harassment, you know, he has highlighted. And I guess, you know, and that's, I don't have a problem with wording this, and without him being here, if he's gonna change the document, we need him to be here and we can go through the changes and say, these are the ones that we want. I mean, the funeral leave, the number, the sick leave, definitely the harassment.
Okay, so if you, so we could just let him reword it and confirm, like, I'll send him another email on mine saying this is the, we agree or don't agree on.
Yeah, do you wanna bring up all the points that you had?
Sure,
And I read them. I don't know, Caleb, did you get a chance to read them?
Yes.
Did you get a chance, Betsy? Diane, did you see that email?
No, I don't think she did. I'm sorry about that, Diane.
Okay,
But
but the one was on, the first one I remember was on harassment.
Yeah,
And I have
page
no
9.
problem with changing that to any type of harassment, not just
Yeah.
sexual harassment, verbal
wonder if-
harassment, or any harassment in the workplace.
Yeah, will not tolerate discriminatory practice or harassment of any kind.
by anyone.
Do we need to list these? By anyone, I mean, including, I mean. And you use the word anyone, including, it seems kind of redundant, but. After anyone, should that be
Yeah,
a
really,
period
it
there?
could just be period,
You're right,
rather than all the wordiness.
I agree.
Everyone is all inclusive, so.
Okay. Next, page 13, the wage for summer help. Our summer help's working for $11 an hour. You can go work at you can work everywhere else for more than $11 an hour. I mean, literally all the fast food joints, every place.
Right, and I wouldn't mind bringing that up, but the only other thing that I'm gonna bring up on that is, I think that when we get repeat help, we do bring that up. So,
Yep,
oh, 50
they're all
cents,
getting 11.50 right now.
they're all getting 11.50 because they're
Second year.
repeating.
Oh.
And it'll be 12 for the third year.
And 12 for the third year.
Do we get third year people very often?
Yeah, I think so, stay, yep. Matter of fact, we have someone 4 years.
I mean, that's hard work out there. I mean, that's physically,
So if we would bump it up to 50 cents more, how much, but see, the thing is, I'd like to know how many hours that they're working. So,
is it
Because-
40?
Some are 40 a week, you know, unless they go on vacation or something, but yeah, they are already scheduled for 40.
and how many months are they?
Basically June, July and August,
So
3
more
months?
or less.
Part of them, yep.
40 would be full-time, but is it because it's seasonal that it's considered a part-time?
Mhm.
Okay.
80 a month.
I mean, if you guys aren't comfortable with that, I mean, it's not. I just thought it would be worth looking at.
So that would
Is there-
be, that'd be only about $120 per part-time summer help. If
Oh, I
we
see it,
Bumped it up
seasonal.
50 cents, and that would be 3 summer helps, correct, Diane?
It's
We're
higher.
talking $360. If we
So
bump it up to $12 an hour
then,
and bump up everything as if they come back another 50 cents, another 50 cents. With inflation, I wouldn't mind doing that at $360. I think that we have enough money somewhere. Do we?
Was that kind of a budget thing that we'll talk about in the fall? I mean,
yeah,
Yeah,
you know, consider.
yeah, it wouldn't, definitely would not be for
Right,
this year,
something
would
in
it?
the
Right.
budget. And there too, that's why I don't think the numbers should be in that
Yeah.
employee handbook.
I agree.
so we should take, basically, we should take out that number for part-time seasonal help and say will be determined, or, you know, depending on,
As agreed upon, but
Mhm.
yes,
Well, you can almost have like another I don't wanna say another packet, but like another like 2-sheet, like, here's where we stand, that way we only have to update that every year.
Yeah, we talked about that as like an appendix at the end.
An addendum at
Right.
the end?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Which we kind of have now attached to our labor policy. It's a 2-page that shows
Okay.
all the salaries. and-
Sure.
Yep.
but yeah, then you can just take all that kind of stuff out of here and just say per appendix, you know.
Yeah, I think that we're lucky to have our part-timers come
Right.
back.
And it makes
considering
it
what
easier for
wages
the
are
crew if
and-
they know what they're doing.
Right. So yeah, we can change that, say, to be determined yearly
By the board.
by the
Yeah.
board.
Sounds
Okay,
good. You're taking minutes on this one, right, Diane?
Yeah, I'm not taking word for word. I'm
Yeah, I
gonna say
don't-
that we
Right,
discussed
right,
this.
right.
and-
yeah, I think that's all we need is,
But you're getting the corrections for
Yes.
Boz?
You are.
All right, then page 20, number 6.
no, I got it.
What's the- what's
I
the
need to see
highlight?
your version so I can
Okay,
understand
then
where
hold
I
it up
am.
and show it to everybody.
Department of Public Works. And so on page 20, number 6, and
Hold
page
on.
21, number 3. In one, it seems to indicate no pay while taking classes, in the other, it states with pay. Unless I'm misunderstanding.
the way that always works is if you take a class and you pass the class, if the class is if it is approved by the village board.
Well,
And
I'm
you
not
pass the class,
questioning
then,
whether or not, I'm just saying it conflicts each other from page
oh,
20
okay,
and 21.
So it was the number
So,
6 and what?
Page 20, number 6, and 21, number 3. There. You may be on 21, number 3, you may be permitted to attend with pay.
and then one on 21,
Okay,
And on pay, that's on 21, you may be permitted to attend with pay, and then on 20, number 6. Courses will be approved by the administrator with documentation on enrollment as well as completion transcripts before reimbursement is made, so maybe it's not conflicting, maybe it's just explaining. Okay, scratch, I'm sorry.
Okay, no worries.
Yeah, that's saying specific state of Wisconsin.
Well, and then underneath that, I said on the note of education and training, maybe we need to clarify the policy to include that anything that needs a state certification will not be reimbursed until the certification is received to the village.
And I think that's how we've always has done, we mean that the certification has to be here and then we reimburse.
It could be, we will pay you for this time under applicable state and federal laws. How do we pursue, not pursuant, but after reception of certificate, you just added there in 3.
And on page 23, did he make the correction for, as we discussed in meeting, adding PFC for police and fire in the same paragraph that he added discipline?
He has some changes here.
Right above emergency closings, the paragraph above that where he has reading discipline.
Yep. So you want it, is that the,
PFC needs to be added in there.
Yeah, he does have that.
Okay, on page 29. Page 29, on the social media part, what is the citizen portal? Our website and citizen portal shall remain the village's primary and predominant
Was that app that we paid?
You don't know about
quite a
the
bit for
portal?
a year that people can go to, but then it just takes them to the website, I guess.
yeah, the GoGov, is that that? Is that that one?
That's what
I'm
the
not
portal,
sure.
I think it
Yeah, I think
automatically
so.
shoots them back to the website.
Yeah.
How much should we pay for that, Diane?
I don't remember right offhand, but it's quite a bit. Yeah.
Do we want to get rid of the citizen portal?
The website's there and that's where it takes them, right? Or,
Mhm.
I don't know.
So do we want to make a note of discussion with Boz on that?
Yeah,
I mean, in some ways, it's helpful on the phone to, instead of typing it in, I mean, it takes you there, so there's like, it takes like a few
Well-
steps out.
But at what price?
Right.
Well, I know,
The cost, yeah.
but in some ways,
Don't get
the-
me upset.
the web, that's right, so it isn't the most compatible. Cause honestly, it doesn't matter what you click on, it's gonna take you to the same thing, but the website isn't necessarily mobile friendly.
I think we can discuss that with Boz when he comes back.
Okay.
Okay.
And I guess determined on the cost, we can bring that back to the board.
Yeah,
If the cost is, just at a point that, I mean, if it's costing us $1,000, that's a lot of money.
well,
for
yeah,
somebody
there's,
to-
you have 5 options. And it doesn't matter what you click on, it just takes you to, well, it does take you to the different pages, but it's,
Okay,
And-
so we
but
need to
it is-
explore
It
that.
has been paid for, so we should keep it for a year until it comes up again.
Yeah, so let's keep it until it comes up, but we need to keep that in mind, and if it comes up again for a bill, I think we need to look
Well, I
at
think
how
we can
much
talk about
usage
it.
of the
So-
website we have and how many
On-
people are actually
no.
going to the website and et cetera.
I would probably just change portal to app, cause that really is what it is, right?
Yeah, that sounds a little more.
Citizen app.
All right, page 30, if we change the weapons policy, we need to make sure we don't have an issue with any state statutes that may not allow weapons on certain properties. Maybe Nick could determine if there's a way to work around it, how we could work around if we wanna allow that as an option. And if there is, should we have that communication in writing from him so that we are covered from liability?
Yeah, we'll have to definitely discuss that with Boz. My understanding is that, unless you have if you have the carry and conceal permit, but the facility bans weapons, then even if you have a carry and conceal permit, you need to leave your weapon in your vehicle or off the premise.
Right, I feel like that's like at school, right, there's no weapons, but if I would have my concealed carry, I still can't bring my weapon to school.
Right, because they'll have that, their policy
Right.
is no weapons on premise.
Right.
And is like open carry, does that? It still has to be attended, or could it be an unattended? Like leaving, we talked about like leaving in the vehicle, out in the open, but also unattended.
It'd be better to have your carry and conceal permit and conceal it in your vehicle.
Yeah,
And
So,
I think most people, I'll tell you right now, the people that have carry and conceal permits are very proud of them. And they're very law-abiding citizens. And just let you know that, back when I'm still in law enforcement, if I stop a vehicle,
you are
they'll-
still in law enforcement.
well, they'll proudly show me their carry and conceal permit. And they say, I wanna let you know I'm carrying. And they're just so the people that have those are 100% on board. It's not an issue. So, I mean, yeah, we can
And
get
I'm not saying-
clarification
I
from
don't have
Nick.
an issue with this, I'm just saying, let's make sure that whatever policy we have in order, that we can establish that we are aligned with the law. And
especially
that we're not
because
doing something that's gonna cause us
something went
trouble.
through Lexipol that upset Chief Warden and the firefighters, and we don't know what that is, we don't know what that language was, but here it's permissible, so it's like, we don't know what it is on the Lexipol side, what it states, but something upset them to the fact that it slowed down the whole process, but I don't know what that language was.
Okay, I guess we'll need to follow up with them, and I can follow up with Chief Drew on that too, and see, cause he usually, the Lexipol runs, I think they run that together. So I will follow up on him and see what upset them. But
Well,
I
it
think
was-
our policy is no weapons in,
So I wonder,
buildings.
when they made that policy, is there a reason why? Is there a statute, like no government buildings?
right. And most of them are that way, no government buildings.
So I wonder, I mean, I'm happy to, I don't have any skin in the game, I don't care what we do with it. If we can do something that would be appreciated by our fire department, I'm happy to do that. but I just wanna make sure that we can go through the process and do it within the boundaries of the law. And do it right.
You
Yeah,
might,
definitely.
and you might not notice on the black and white copies, but that Boz added the line, no unapproved weapons are allowed on village property, approval through the administrator with police chief concurrence. So just, I mean, it's in red, but it didn't come out in the black and white.
Right, it is on this one here.
I think we just need to make sure that we are within the laws of the state with that.
Yeah,
All right, so,
let me follow up on that with Chief Drew.
okay.
Village. So that, okay, so I'm sorry, so that line he added in is because we have a no weapons policy, but the unapproved is like those who have concealed carry will be approved, right? As an
Yes.
exception, is that what, that was his
Yes.
intent?
It was approved by the chief of police and the administrator. So, you know, that's kind of, even if you had a carry concealed permit and you were one of the guys on the fire department or one of the guys on the village crew, according to this, it would have to be approved by the administrator and the chief of police. So even just because you have a carry concealed permit doesn't mean that you could come in to work with a carry, with
Right.
the gun.
But that added sentence is to allow that upon approval,
Right.
right? Okay.
So I'm just saying, we should check the legality on
Yeah.
that. Page 34 and 35. The last item on page 34 defines immediate family. I would suggest we explore adding foster child and grandchild.
And that's where the 1 day one is where they have the grandchildren.
So
I
that is
don't think
actually on there,
foster
isn't it?
is there, but if you look further on the police part, it is there, but it just was omitted from the
The
general.
general,
I actually have a current policy here.
Foster and grand
No, grand is already
on there,
on the
but
one.
foster isn't.
Yeah, I don't think foster is anywhere.
And he has in his notes, both of that here, so he has foster and grandchild on his notes in here.
Page 35,
Say something, oh.
did we come to conclusions on the longevity pay?
Not yet,
And
so what do you have,
So
Diane?
this paragraph that is left out that should go in does include grandchildren.
And that needs to be in, and that's,
Well, he can include it in the 3 days if he wants, because to me, I would need at least.
that's
Uh-huh.
page 4.
Yeah.
But, so I don't know, yeah. That's
Okay.
more,
Is there-
this is our
there's a
labor policy. I don't
3-day
have
and
a
1
copy of
day?
What you guys are looking at, this is our labor policy. Paragraph 14 needs to go.
they're not all 3-day?
And we're out, now were you, no, there's actually 1 day for, in our current one that was here.
Here, if you wanna take a look at it, it's paragraph 14 of our labor policy.
I don't know, I mean, why would we do 1 day?
is that for like an
In-laws.
in-laws?
I mean, and like brother-in-law.
Not immediate
or,
family.
You know,
Right.
Not immediate family.
But honestly,
but, right, I
Your
disagree with
in-laws.
some of their, but, yeah.
I know,
Do they even deserve a day? Oh,
Caleb.
I went down basically for a year that Scott was
Actually,
trying
the
to hold it
in-laws
together.
are 3 day, it's 3 days for employees' husband, wife, son, daughter, stepson, stepdaughter, son-in-law, daughter-in-law, mother, father, mother-in-law, father-in-law, stepmother, stepfather, sister, and brother. That's the 3 days.
I wanna need
So
a-
what's
That's probably
not?
should add
One.
foster, but a
In-laws.
grandchild is only in the 1 day. 1 day would be, employees, spouses, grandparents, and, wait. Yeah, employees and employee spouses, grandparents, and grandchildren, brother-in-law and sister-in-law, but brother-in-law and sister-in-law shall be the spouse of an employee's brother or sister, and or the brother or sister of an employee's spouse. So it can't be like my
Who's on
husband,
first, Diane?
it can't be like my husband's sister's husband.
Right,
It has to be, yeah, like my sister's.
is it important to
Yeah.
go through all that detail?
And really, 3 days? I'm sorry,
Where-
I'm gonna need a heck of a lot
Right.
more than 3 days.
Well, of paid, right, I mean, we probably, you could get more, I'm sure, but of paid. But these are the one day that I just read.
Yeah.
And that's the paragraph. that's
I'm just thinking
missing.
like. Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Bingo.
Where are you now, Tiara, page 35, longevity?
Yeah,
Did you see that that was included in our minutes? And if you see, we're looking, and he has that in here to update that. So what we have now is 175 per month. They're looking at going, or he recommended going up to $3 a month. So our total would be, what we have now is 26, 28, 50. It would go 20 to $4,506. So we have a difference of $1,877.50. At the new rate. I don't know, I guess I have different opinions, I guess I think that we're staying here and we need to pay our employees. But, is it a budgetary thing again? Because we're talking about $1,800, or do we put the number in right now? Or I guess we would have to put that number in right now because we'd be looking at the end of the year for the longevity, correct, Diane?
No, I think that's something that he figured at budget time for next year.
Okay,
Right.
so that again, do we put that number in? We leave it at 175, and then we'll have to look at that at budget time. It'd either be, if we have the money, I say, let's go with the $3. If we're kind of tittering and tottering on where our levy is and how much income we have in the village, I say we still raise it to either 2 or 250, that we bring it up by either 75 cents, I don't know, again, these are unknowns due to budget time, and when the budget time, if we have a surplus of money, or we're doing, we need to recognize our employees, and one of our ways we can recognize them is through longevity. So I don't know, as head of the committee, I'm totally in favor of giving them $3, but again, I think that this is something we need to bring up at budget time as something at that point.
So can I say, I think that should be a number that's left out of this document
Yep.
again.
So
Mhm.
again,
Yeah,
I guess it need to be determined. I guess the only thing that I would say
Allowing
is
us more
175,
flexibility to do
175
what-
and be determined at budget time.
or don't even put that.
You don't
in.
even need the
Just put a
175.
longevity payment agreed upon by the board each year.
That's-
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, then. Page 36. Number 21, the chief of police on administrative days is entitled to 1/2 hour lunch break. The administrative day work, we don't have administrative days. So
We don't,
Did it used to be like that?
it used to be that way. There was an administrative day. There used to be a lot of different things, I guess we can axe that because we don't have an administrating day right now.
So
And
just strike it.
I think we
completely.
need to
Is that like
strike it out of
professional
there.
day at school or something? What is that? I don't know what that.
Well, that's an SRO.
Well,
position that-
Oh,
The chief
professional
on
day.
administrative days, so
Oh,
however
it's
many
just-
days, he'll be in the office from 9 to 2.
Okay,
And I think we strike that because
Yeah.
now we can't really count on him being there from 9 to 2 if he's taking calls.
Right, I
So I
agree.
say we strike number 20, 21 out of there completely.
okay. I need more than 30 minutes to eat my sandwich.
Um. Deputy chief, page 38. I support officer stipends. Maybe we could survey how area departments are doing that and create something that works for us. I think we need a criteria that would be achieved in order to get that stipend. I'm concerned that our department, okay, I'll just leave the rest.
Okay, and that's fine. Again, that's kind of, I'm not on the committee for public safety, and I don't have a problem with a stipend. But I will just say this and be done, is, we haven't had a bike rodeo. this year or last year. We haven't had really an SRO program that's been established. The chief's doing his
This
best.
is for the fire department, I
Oh,
think.
this, the fire department?
Yes, yes.
Okay, you know, I'm just saying, if you go above and beyond, yeah, I think we can do stipends. But if we have something that we, even the fire department, if they're coming in here and doing their job and doing what they need to do we need to go, I mean, if they're doing above and beyond, okay, anybody. And maybe in the near future, we might need to do that, where we're gonna ask people to go above and beyond what they're doing. But I don't know if we need to put anything in there right now as stipends,
What are you, which line?
Right here. Assistant fire chief, fire captain, fire lieutenant. So they get paid for all of their calls,
no matter what.
no matter what. And the thing that, I mean, is it, before I'd be thinking that we need to do stipends, first we need to know that, like, does everybody have their fire officer certification? You know,
I just wanna say that the fire chief does not get paid for his. he
Right,
just
right.
gets his-
right,
Yeah, I guess that would be a question to ask, I mean,
so again, so what I wrote, maybe we need to create a criteria that would be achieved in order to get that stipend. I'm uncomfortable with an automatic stipend. Without,
but we kind of talked about that, and wasn't that something where the fire chief was going to give up some of his pay to have other people in his
This-
department take
yeah,
over?
this is the opposite of that. This is coming up, you know, adding that to the budget. And the chief still gets his full 10,000.
Oh, and adding these stipends?
Mhm.
Yeah, I guess that's something that we need to know by the fire chief, what these people are doing to get the stipend.
And on that note, do we have job descriptions?
I guess that would be something we need to ask the fire chief. Do we have job descriptions for each one of these? If he's in charge of that, he would have to know what his officers are doing and what their job description is, you know. That's something that I'm gonna say would have to go back to public safety. And we would need to know what the job description is of the assistant fire chief, the fire captain, and the fire lieutenant. And determine if them stipends are meeting that criteria of what's being done by those positions.
Job description and what
So
training?
we have the job description of the fire chief. I received that, so we're looking at the assistant and below, right? That's
Yeah.
one we're, okay.
I thought, and I guess if I was wrong on this, I thought that he was giving up some of his pay to
Well,
help
and
these
that's
other officers.
originally what he had said, but that didn't.
That didn't happen.
Well, I think if we're up to him, but yeah, that wasn't really, why should he give up his pay? They think they decided that wasn't really.
I think there probably was a part in there, like, how do you dispense the taxes and
Okay,
was.
yeah, well, I guess, you know, at this point, I would say that we take that to public safety and ask the fire chief for this job description of those. So we can, in our committee, justify the stipends that we're giving them.
Okay,
Can I just say?
Sure.
You know, when the board comes up with the budget and you give them so much for their salaries, to me, it's kind of up to the fire department to stay within that budget. But if they want to do stipends, then it can still stay within that budget. Isn't that kind of more of an internal thing for them?
Yeah, it is, I guess, you know, he's running his department. And if the assistant chief is doing some of his,
but for the point of this conversation, it's on each one of them, it shows their quarterly and what they're doing.
yeah. Do we wanna keep it in the handbook that way then, or do we wanna just leave that out of the handbook?
Well, until we get. I have the ability to do some research and our homework on that. I don't think it should be in there until we have,
To know what,
yeah, adequately have figured out a solid plan.
that, that's a good question, and I'll bring that up to Boz and see what his thought is on that. Is that something that we added new to this,
Boston,
Diane?
Yeah, there weren't stipends for them before.
Okay. I guess, yeah, if we keep it in, I think we need to know what the job descriptions are. If we pull it out and the chief has his budget and he does what he needs to do with his budget and stays within his budget for salaries, that's up to him. But if we keep these stipends in, I think we need to know what are the duties of the captain, the lieutenant, the deputy chief, what are they doing? Anybody have thoughts on that?
I'm obviously just not talking about it because it has to do with pay and all that kind of stuff with the fire department, so.
With the stipends, would they still get paid for all their meetings, drills and everything too? If they get a stipend, or would it be like the chief where he just gets the stipend? I guess that's what
I think that is another aspect, because I would say that may be more than they make annually.
they could get more than the chief that way if they get,
Yeah,
you know. Yeah,
Okay, I'll bring that up to Boz and see, I have got that down, if they're getting paid for drills. And, or is that job stipend just considered everything total? And if they are getting the stipend and drills, then we need to know what the job description is for them positions.
Mhm.
Okay. Anything else?
um. Nope, actually, that's it on mine.
Caleb, do you have anything?
I think she covered. No,
Okay.
that was fine. I mean, I did look at the parts, and the parts that I was looking at with what we've already discussed, so.
Okay. As the chair for the committee here, my plan is when Boz gets back, I will come in next week, probably Thursday or Friday, sit down, meet with him, discuss these changes that we've just discussed here. See where he is with them and have him change the employee handbook. I guess the only one that would be really the pressing one is, the stipends, if we need a job description on those, and then we might have to go back to public safety to the fire chief if he wants to do that. There's a job description, or if Boz wants to write job descriptions for these positions.
Including the education training criteria.
Yes. Any comments? Okay. Old business. Nothing that I can see. I don't have an update on anything on Mission Coffee. I don't have an update. I don't know how I know we sold the one lot, the parcel here in, no, I don't have anything for old business. New business.
I just say, I know Boz mentioned something at one of the meetings about possible water rate increase
Oh, yes.
for this year. I just want to say that if we do go ahead with that, I do the simplified rate case on the PSC site. And then I have to publish it, and you're talking about at least a 50 to 55 day period to do all that stuff. And so we usually raise it in September so that the increase shows up on the January 1st billing. So that would have to be decided by the end of June in order to have time to do all that. We normally do it in May, so. or very beginning of July.
So
So
Then we
you remember
don't have
talking
time
about
to
that
do
is,
it, then,
yeah,
'cause we
right.
can't bring a motion out today, right?
Yeah, I mean,
well, you know, we could, I guess my feeling on it is, I'm not for the increase, so that's my feeling. I think that there's other increases that are gonna be hitting us this year with the reassessment. A lot of the villagers, and I don't know, I did see his email out, I know that, what was the increase recommend?
8%, we can't pick our own, it's 8% this
It's
year.
8%.
Yeah.
And if we don't do it,
And next year we can try for it again and see. I mean, if we don't do it, we're done until next year.
Who
Because
picks
after
it?
the PSC report is done by the auditors,
Yes, it does.
then we can do the simplified rate case on there. And they let us know if we qualify for the increase or not.
how is our accounts looking for that?
Well, the water's not looking bad right now, but I don't know what they have planned. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
So if we would not do it this year and we would do it next year, do we?
We're not
run it?
guaranteed that we'll be eligible for it
Right.
next year, but in the last 3 years, we were not, or even more, but now, sure we were. I
This year
think
we
it's
are.
because we spent more money, so if you're spending more, those
Oh,
other years, we maybe
okay.
didn't spend as much, so they figured we were getting enough.
Okay,
But, if we were eligible this year, I'm thinking we probably will be next year too, so.
And that would be on the water bill,
Just the
right?
water.
Just the water, not the
Yeah.
sewer.
Right.
Yeah.
So our water bills would increase by 8%. Any discussion on that?
I,
I would just hate to run the risk of not getting it, being eligible next year. Now all of a sudden we are gonna start running into an issue. When was the last time we increased it? Did you say 3 years?
So it's probably been longer than that,
Oh, 3 year, the last 3 years we
well,
were
last year, I don't think
eligible.
we even put in for it, because we figured we wouldn't be eligible, and it's
Okay.
probably the 3, 4 years before that, that we weren't eligible.
Okay,
Well, it might be 2000, I think 18, 15 or 18, I'm not sure, I'd have to look, yeah. Well, way back.
You know, and I don't know, the only thing that I think is upcoming for projects that I'm aware of is the Second Street project, where the water and sewer pipes have to be changed. And we were looking at next year, we were doing engineering on it this year, and then start it next year.
2018, it was the last year.
I don't like increasing things either.
No,
I would hate for it to go, okay, we didn't do it this year, and then all of a sudden next year we don't qualify for it, and now all of a sudden what's the likelihood of that happening though?
you just never
I'm not
know.
sure what they look at,
Okay.
but, I'm thinking we're kind of on the same road this year as we were last year, so I think you probably would qualify, but I really don't know.
so if the average water bill was $300 to $400, if it was $300, that'd be $24.
But that's water and sewer, this would only be on the water.
On the
So
water
less
part.
than.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that much.
No,
But
know-
when you talk about it accumulatively for the whole village, what it would bring,
Yeah, you know, it's all never that much, but then when you're talking
There's a lot of,
increase here, increase there. I will just be honest that with the reassessment, some people will be increased and some people probably will remain the same or have a small increase. So no matter what, this reassessment that we're doing right now, we're gonna look at a lot of people probably, you know, and I don't know what the percentage is, I can't tell you, but I know that there's gonna be increase for a lot of taxpayers. I guess it's up to us as a committee. I understand it's not gonna be much, and that's why I asked Diane where our account sits with that. And I guess it all depends on extra projects. How much extra would we take in?
I
I
can't
don't
tell you
know.
that off the top of my head.
Right, yeah, I'm sure
Come on,
that.
Diane.
Diane, how much do we take in every year? And that's probably on usage of water too, so that sometimes we use more and sometimes we use less. Who's our main water user? Is it still ERCO?
Mhm.
And they would have the increase also.
Mhm.
So for them, that would be a lot. So am I understanding it right? Did you say if we don't do it this year, we might not qualify for it next year?
No, I mean, each year it's up to the PSC, and I don't know exactly what they look at, they go off the auditor's report. And, they're the ones that tell us if we can or can't, so.
That was just my concern.
Oh,
My
okay.
concern was if we don't do it this year, are we not eligible for it next year? And now all of a sudden we're running that risk of.
Yeah.
So when's the latest that you need to know?
Well, I need like 50 days, so if we put in for the increase for July 12th, because we won't read any sooner than that, we could even go to 19th, you're looking at 18 and middle
Wow.
of July, I'd have to for sure put in
When's our
for it.
next?
Okay,
So we have
and
a July 6th meeting.
I'm hoping to move that meeting to July 5th.
Oh.
Otherwise I'll be out of town, but I think that we need to know
Yeah,
by then. And then, well, then the board meeting would be the following to get it approved by the whole board, so that would put us right kind of at a tight timeline.
yeah.
Let's put it on the agenda for the next meeting, and we need to make a determination.
But if it was the next meeting, it wouldn't be enough time, right?
It'd be just barely, yeah,
Just
the next
barely.
day, I'd have to, we'd get in there, yeah. And just because, I mean, that tells us if we're eligible, but then I still have to go through some things, and that's not final. They still have to
Saying
make
that's
final
gonna happen.
findings to say if we're approved or not. So they're just saying, at this point, we're approved to put in for it at least.
Now, if we put a motion in, this would have to be approved by the whole board, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Any thoughts?
I don't know. What do you got, Caleb?
I'm still trying to wrap my head around it, but next, I was gonna say council, next, board meeting is too late then.
Well, it's kind of close for Diane. I guess,
I mean, it would be okay. That would be the very latest, but yeah.
So it's something we need to be thinking about.
and then basically the 8% is on how much water you use too, correct? So if your usage of water is lower, your 8% is lower. Again, if you're using a lot of water, it's higher.
And the fixed fees also go up by 8%, so it's like 24 something a month, so that would also increase. And so for the ERCO and them, their fixed rate is a lot higher, so theirs would increase more. Yeah. So,
What do you mean by the fixed rate, I guess?
well, even if you have no usage at all,
Oh,
your water, you still are charged, at least, yeah.
Like my outdoor
Oh, wait,
water.
24, I'm thinking of the sewer, yeah, the water fee is like 15 something.
if you're not even using water.
Right, that's your fixed rate, yeah. A quarter,
Yeah, and this is probably under old business, because
We couldn't push it to,
I would make a motion to,
Council.
But we
do
can't
the
make
8%
any motions under old business.
oh, that's right.
So we'd either have to call a special meeting or just do it at the next meeting and,
motions need to come out of the committee, could it just be a motion on the board meeting, every board meeting?
I think it's gotta come out of
It does,
committees,
huh?
cause that's why we have to have special, like, committees of the whole. If we would need to make a motion on something. I can. clear that with Jill. And
Okay,
Pastor,
yeah,
that's what
either
he
that,
told me.
or if we can make a motion, I will make a motion at the board meeting to do the increase of 8%. I think that reason why is, I think that gives us some room. We're not gonna have ARPA funds next year. We might not have some other things, and I think that the increase just goes through the village wide, and the water usage is, which is smaller than the sewer usage. So I guess my opinion is, I hate to raise things too, but I think that it might not be a bad thing for the village as a whole. So that's why I would recommend to do that. So if I can do it at the board meeting, I'll make the motion, I'll check with you.
Yep.
If I can't, we need to put it on the agenda for the next meeting to make the motion. And we can have discussion then, and if you guys feel different at that point, we can have discussion on if you feel that we wanna raise that rate or not, how's that?
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Okay, and maybe if there's,
You
yeah,
might wanna word it, motion to put in for an 8% increase with the PSC, because it's not really, we can't decide to raise rates ourselves, the PSC has to approve it,
Oh, sure.
so.
so even if we
to
made
put
the
in for
motion, it doesn't mean that would be approved.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay. So let's do that, and that gives you some time too to think about what's going on with further things on the increase. New business, any discussion? Correspondence received, none that I see. Agenda items for next meeting, of course, will be the PFC proposed motion. Next meeting,
Wait, say that
The
again, what?
PSC.
Unless it goes on the.
Oh.
yeah,
Oh, yeah,
PSC, I thought you said
Right.
PFC, I'm like.
oh, maybe I don't know.
There's a-
Fast.
yeah. Employee handbook, probably just to make sure that.
Yes,
we
the employee handbook
finalize
update,
it.
let's do the final.
Yep.
I will meet with Boz. Next meeting, does July 5th work for everybody?
so our meeting is at 4 o'clock for public safety.
July 5th?
Yeah,
I thought that was earlier.
at 4?
Am I thinking of the wrong one? I thought they moved one earlier in the day. At 1 p.m. Or no, is that NEPCO? That might have been
Yeah, we
NEPCO.
know.
So I know our day is after 4th of July, so.
Yep.
So
So
you're
is that
moving it from a Thursday to a Wednesday, we're on that Wednesday at 4 o'clock.
How long
And,
are you guys gonna be?
well, even if I cut that meeting in half, I still need an hour and a half.
It was so bad.
Do we,
I mean, I guess-
It was fun.
is it like a holiday, the
The
5th?
third and fourth we have.
Third and fourth, okay, because I know some, it just depends on where it falls, I was just checking.
And then I'm gonna be gone until the 10th. So I mean, somebody
Is
else,
Why
this,
must you
is
guys
this
have
gonna be a
exciting
long
ones?
meeting?
well, I guess the only thing that I would see is the proposed, the handbook. Finalization of that and the 8% increase in the water.
Maybe you guys,
Can we go
maybe this
first?
committee goes first.
Can we meet at 3?
I don't have a problem, I don't have a problem pulling Diane out early too to meet.
I think, I mean, if it was like at 5, I think giving us an hour would be fine.
Well, you guys will start at 4, 5.
We start at 4, I think meeting at 3 would be great.
For our committee here.
Mhm.
Can we
If
all do it
everybody
at
can
3?
do it. Mhm.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah.
Diane, we'll just have you
Yeah.
come at 3. Is that all right with
3 is
you?
fine.
So July 5th, 3 o'clock. And everybody write that down so I don't get yelled at for
Got it,
moving meetings around like
Got
I did in
it.
Public Works or that.
3 o'clock.
Okay, with that, at 20 after 5, I will call the meeting adjourned.